Okay, very quickly, here is an income statement. Popular perception is that as one increases sales, so the profits increase in a business, and that is generally true. All the money collected goes to paying for a few things. Cost of sales, which is the cost of producing the product or the cost of acquiring the product for resale, and by cost of sales we mean truly variable costs. So if no product is sold, there is no cost of sale. Subtract the cost of sales, and what's left over is the gross profit. As the cost of sales changes, so does the GP. The amount of gross profit is determined by a combination of negotiation with suppliers and the amount of sales. There is a direct relationship there. The gross profit is used up entirely, being put into two pots. On the one hand, fixed expenses of the business or the operational expenses, and what's left over goes into profit. So I say again, the only income statement portion which is available for these two pots, fixed expenses and profit, comes from the gross profit. So as the sales drop, the cost of sales drops in direct proportion, as does the gross profit value. Notice the gross profit percentage remaining the same. Notice also that the fixed expenses stays fixed at the same time. As the sales drop, the profit comes under pressure. So at a point, there is simply not enough gross profit available to pay for all the fixed expenses and return a profit. And if you go even further, that profit turns into a loss. So one has to cut the expenses to stay alive, and that is not always easy. To predict the point at which the sales are sufficient to generate enough gross profit to cover expenses, we work out a number called the break-even point of sale, BEPOS. So when making a loss, the BEPOS is more than 100% of sales. When making a profit, BEPOS, the break-even point of sale, is less than 100%. The break-even point of sale is affected by the gross profit percentage and by expenses. But we all know how difficult it is to contain expenses, and this is the valuation part of the BEPOS. A buyer of any business needs to know that he's not going to suddenly find himself in a loss-making position. So the BEPOS must be relatively low. The lower the better. But there must also be little risk in the BEPOS. So here is a decent spread. We lose a customer, we get cross, but we survive and we make a profit. But no debtor list actually looks like this. This is the more likely scenario. We lose a guy here, no big deal. But if we turn the same list around to represent real risk, we have a different story altogether. We lose the biggest guy in the list, we're still in profit, but the problems which would arise if a second one were to go down would be disastrous. Let's have a look at another set of customers, and this, I'm afraid, is all too frequent. Businesses which are only one customer away from disaster end up offering value in a business sale only to competitors who can dilute the risk with their own customer base, and therefore the difference between this business and this one.
Prepare your business for sale.